My name is Sharon Oliver and I work as a full-time faculty here at Ashridge Executive Education. I'm also the discipline lead for the HR work that we do here and program director of our open strategic HR program, and also have the privilege of getting involved in many custom programs all over the world for clients, for the HR departments and HR leaders. So I'd like to share with you what I've noticed, what HR is being challenged with at the moment, where they're getting stuck, and how we as a business school are addressing some of these challenges. The trends that I'm noticing really can be clustered into three categories. The first one is around the digital revolution. The second one is around the human aspect, what it means to be human in business today, the people side. And the third one is what the implications are for how we design our organizations, and of course what that means for leading in the digital age. So let me start off by just sharing some observations around the digital revolution. As I'm sure some of you might know, the world is changing very fast, and in about 20 years' time, 30% of all jobs will be done by robots and artificial intelligence. That has massive implications for human resources. Future HR departments will not only be human resources, but only BR as well, bot resources, including how we manage robots. Whose job will that be? Is that the job of IT? Is that the job of HR? So it's an interesting challenge. Many of the HR processes today are being automized and done through cognitive computing and through social media. The way we communicate with our employees, the way we stay in touch regarding performance, 360 reviews, succession planning, team meetings, staying in touch on latest developments, on recognition, is all being taken over by digital media, being used to get far, far quicker communication, more agile communication. And I think the days are going to be soon over when companies are relying solely on annual engagement surveys, annual performance meetings, a 5-point rating scale. Feedback is going to become more generative, it's going to become more frequent, and HR leaders are going to have to stay cutting edge in the way they think about these things and the way they work with their IT departments, so that they don't become barriers towards progress by focusing on policies and procedures, but that they enable the organization to move quickly where it needs to go. The world is changing faster than organizations' ability to change and to keep up. And I think HR can become leading influencers in showing the way in the digital revolution. The second dimension is the people side, what it means to be human in the new organization of the future. So what I'm noticing is that if you look at the old Maslowian hierarchy of needs, the basic needs here in the Western world, I'm talking about UK, Europe, the kinds of organizations I've been doing a lot of work with, are basically met. And there's an increasing need for intrinsic motivation, especially in the more complex environments. How do we enable our people to find their meaning and purpose in a way that's going to be a win-win for them and for the organization? Many of the millennials are moving very quickly between organizations. We're moving towards what we call a gig economy, doing gigs at different organizations. So the use of social media, staying in touch with individuals, knowing what their individual value propositions need to be, and enabling much, much more rapid and regular communication virtually with people, and creating virtual teams is going to be an important part of how we engage into the future. So along with digital revolution, we also have a consciousness on the human side of increasing our intrinsic motivation, the sense of purpose that people feel in organizations. And I think it's an interesting leadership challenge of how to bring these two together, the digital and the human side of a business. So the third element then is, what does that mean for how we design our organizations? You might have noticed that organizations are cutting out layers. They're moving towards flatter, more agile structures. They're applying design thinking in a more agile way. So organizations are really moving towards what I would call ecosystem way of being. Flatter, more autonomous, more interdependent, working with teams and networks of teams that are more self-managed. Management in its traditional sense will change more to leadership, distributed leadership, rather than management control, because control can be done digitally. So the essence of leadership then is more about how leaders create a space for the system to self-manage as an ecosystem, to to become more autonomous, to become more networked, and to become more interdependent and collaborative. Creating the right culture for that to happen and enabling that with the right systems and processes. Here we end with a challenge for HR. How can HR stay leading and not lagging, not be a hindrance to the way that organizations are moving into the future? These are the kinds of things that we will address through our HR programs here at Ashridge.